Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Phil Friedman here with the morning briefing. It's a gorgeous Wednesday morning. It is so great to be back with you all again. We have got so much to cover with you all. Some exciting white sea bass action going on right now. Those bluefin tuna, huge schools and biting very, very well for the most part, with some big fish in the mix. We've got our Amigo charter coming up 1 week from tonight. We take off for a 2-day trip. Still a couple of spots open there. If you'd like info, you'd like to join us, I highly recommend you give it a shot. I'm very high. We need to get a weather break, there's no question about it, and hopefully we'll get the exact same kind of weather that we have in the forecast for the next couple of days. That could really be big. If you want info on it, just send me a text right now, 657-227-6459, and I'll send you some information so you can join us. What a live show we had last night. David Maestro was beyond fantastic. He is such a nice gentleman. He's such a pleasure to be around, and he is such a fountain of fishing information, and that was evident last night on our live show, where we had over 2.5 hours of constant questions coming in and David answering all those questions. He was magnificent. One of our best guests by far. It was an honor and a pleasure to have him on. I can't wait to fish with him again. I can't wait to see him again. And he was absolutely fantastic. A couple of other things. Check out our Albuquerque forecast update. Really great stuff on there, as fisheries expert Bob Osborne goes into great detail, shows you comparisons between the big boomer 2008 Albuquerque season and what our oceanography looks like right now. Talks about the stock of Albuquerque. Is it healthy or not? And also talks about migration patterns. It's really great stuff, and it's up right now for you all. And Brian Burrell, the beloved deckhand on board the Monte Carlo out of 22nd Street Landing, is on right now. You can check out what success he had on the boat San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing, why he loves fishing that boat so much, and probably more importantly, how exactly he fishes the Colt Sniper. Loves that lure, gets bit on it, but he does some things that you're going to want to know about, so check that out right now. All right, everybody, it's great to be back with you all. I've got some entertainment behind you. There's a couple of guys back here fishing the surf, so we'll see if they can come up with anything. So far for them, it's been all rays, so they've been catching rays and then releasing them. We'll keep our eyes on those guys, or you guys keep your eyes on them and let me know if they get bit, so that I can run over there and photograph or videotape that for you all. All right, let's talk about some incredible bluefin tuna fishing. It is still going on. Nighttime fishing has been phenomenal. Really great fishing for the boys out of San Diego. And also, you know, one of the reasons David Maestro was on last night was to talk in depth about his trip on board the Thunderbird out of Davies Locker in Newport Beach. They had 39 bluefin tuna. They had a spectacular trip. A bunch of the people who were on the trip just wrote in last night and talked about the great fishing, how great David was, how wonderful Jeff Marklin and the crew on the Thunderbird were and are on a regular basis. It was really good. So that fish now, that bluefin, is in 1-day range of a lot of LA Orange County based boats. They're gonna have to start fishing 1.5 days because they want to get in on the nighttime bite. The nighttime is when it has been best of all. Last night was another spectacular night. And speaking of nighttime fishing, we're way far away from coming up with a solid plan for our Amigo trip. But Captain Mark Paisano and I had a lengthy discussion last night about possibilities. One of those possibilities, here's a dream scenario for you. Clemente turns on, the yellows really start biting there. We fished yellows at Clemente, have a wonderful day at San Clemente Island, which is a great place to fish. Maybe some sea bass, maybe some halibut, and then we take off just a little early, 5 in the evening, something like that, and we motor down to the Bluefin Tuna area. We're there for sunset, and then it's game on with that nighttime bite on the BFT. That is one possible scenario. However, you're going to hear about the Channel Islands here in a moment, and how good that fishing was and is. And all you need is a weather break, and you're in on magnificent white sea bass fishing, great halibut fishing, and copious amounts of rockfish. We're gonna have a lot of options on our hands. The only thing is weather. I want that wind out of the scenario. My fingers are crossed that we're gonna be okay regarding that. So, variety of tackle is still necessary when you're fishing those bluefin tuna. You wanna have some 40-pound mono to fly line with. You wanna have some flat fall jigs. You wanna have some Sacanas, Daiwa Sacanas, those knife jigs, all working really, really well. And again, you can, when you're fishing iron, you can use fluorocarbon. It's not so much about the visibility, I'm not worried about that, but it is abrasive resistant, and that is important, especially if you're in a prolonged battle on a bluefin tuna. They've got teeth and they can chew through the line, so fluorocarbon is a really good idea. And of course, we like Opsin Fluorocarbon. My good friend Greg Brown runs that place, does a great job. www.opsinusa.com. If you put FA in at checkout, I'm losing my mind. Put in FA at checkout, and Greg Brown will send you a personal note as well as a free gift. So some really good fishing going on. The boat San Diego, the one Brian Burrell is talking about on his little presentation this morning. Make sure you check it out. He had 3 bluefin tuna 2 days ago, and I said, there's no way that he doesn't nail them the subsequent day. So yesterday, San Diego, 30 bluefin tuna. That's a boat that leaves at 5:30 in the morning, gets back around 6 o'clock in the evening. That is what I call darn good fishing. And most of his fish were 30 to 50 pounders. So a little different this time. You know, sometimes you run into that straight 100, 150, 200 pound fish. This time it was beautiful fish, 30 to 50 pounds, nothing wrong with that. And they pointed out 3 things that were successful on that San Diego trip. Number 1, 40-pound fly line. So you've got to have fluorocarbon, you got to be ready to go with that. The 120-gram Colt Sniper worked super good, very effective. And finally, sinker rigs working really, really good with a 4-ounce torpedo sinker being best of all. That's what the crew on the San Diego is suggesting. And once again, if you want to know how to fish that Colt Sniper, you've got to listen to Brian Burrell. That guy is one of the best jig fishermen you'll ever run into. He decks on the Monte Carlo. He's been in the fishing game for 50 years. Please check that out. It'll only make your game better to listen to Brian. The Grande with 20 guys, 23 bluefin tuna, another 6 a.m. departure boat. Nice hit. 40-pound fly line was the best way to get a bite, no question about it. Some fish on the Daiwa Sacana also, but 40-pound fly line was by far, according to the boys on the Grande, the best way to get a bite. So that sounds pretty good. Liberty, 15 guys, 18 bluefin tuna, and as I previously mentioned, many of the boats down there with limits of BFT. Still some misses, no question about it, but guys that get in on that nighttime bite really are thumping them. So day and a half, 2-day trips or better give you a much better opportunity. Really great fishing going on, and those nighttime bites have been absolutely crazy. Once again, the variety in terms of size, you never know what you're going to get. So while we're talking 30 to 50s today, we might be talking 200 plus tomorrow. You do need to have that 100-pound with a 2-speed reel. It is so important to your success. If you run into that grade of fish, you're definitely going to want to be tackled up. And in the daytime, there's been some kelps holding 5 to 15-pound yellowtail. Once again, that's where that fly line 40-pound comes in super handy. Weather scenario for the San Diego region, perfect, beautiful. Can't get any better. It is going to be lovely weather as we have a weather break. Finally, the fan has been on most of this year, leading to a really difficult start for some guys, especially as you move offshore and up north. It's been tough up there in the Channel Islands, but I'll be getting into that in a moment. Coronado Islands, at the Coronado Islands, we continue to see some really good conditions starting to come together. Few yellows taken out there in that neck of the woods. One of these days we're going to have a big old fork explosion. Forkies are there. Hopefully they're going to settle in and bite. many guys are driving by the islands and saying, not really interested right now. I'm more interested in catching a big trophy, bluefin tuna. So we'll keep our eyes on the islands. There's calico bass, there's some barracuda in there, and there are yellowtail. Haven't seen any huge hits yet, but you got to think that that is also right around the corner, and it's so close to Point Loma that it's a joy to fish those islands. So once again, we're keeping our eyes on that. All right, let's talk the coast, and then I'll move you into Catalina, San Clemente, and up into the Channel Islands, which I'm dying to talk to you about. There was some really great fishing going on. Coastal starting to improve all the time. I still think someone's going to get a really good shot on the barracuda here before this weekend is out. The weather along the coast has been removed from all that wind, and so water temperatures have been increasing. It's getting warmer all the time, and we're also starting to see a lot more barracuda and some decent hits. The Victory here up in San Pedro, Long Beach area yesterday had limits of sand bass. A lot of talk that they're migratory sand bass. I'm going to reserve judgment on that and see. They fished with live squid. They had a downhill trickle of a current, perfect water temperature. All those conditions that I'm enumerating for you right now are perfect, just what you want to see. So we'll see if these fish are indeed migratory, if more clouds of fish move into the Huntington Flats like they used to. If we get a similar kind of situation down on the Tijuana Flats and up on the clam beds off Oceanside and up there in the Channel Islands and in the Santa Monica Bay, we'll be watching that very, very closely. But a nice hit indeed, no question about it. Fishing live squid and a lead head produced some really great fishing. Elsewhere, we're still on that sculpin and rockfish kind of a mode right now, providing excellent table fare, but a lot of guys want to catch more and more of that surface fish. So we'll continue to watch it, and I'm thinking there's going to be a barracuda explosion. Sand bass, migratory or not, we should have an answer to that here today. We'll see clouds of fish moving in there. We'll see other boats starting to catch. We'll watch that very closely for you up in the Santa Monica Bay. Redondo Special and the local guys up there have had some good calico bass fishing. Marcus Fain was here the other day. Marcus is a great fisherman. Calico bass, sand bass, fishing a little bit heavier lead head when you're fishing the structure, fishing a lighter lead head when you're on the kelp line. There's been really some decent fishing, and there's still a lot of rockfish going on in that neck of the woods also. That looks pretty darn good. And up there in the Channel Islands, there's been barracuda, calico bass, sand bass on the coast. Again, even the weather up there along the coast right now is gorgeous, looking really, really good. So that also bodes well for the future. Hopefully that's going to continue to head in the right direction. We'll be watching this local scene. As I say, conditions are improving. Water's warmer. Things are looking good. We'll continue to see if we get some more progression with regard to sand bass, barracuda, and everything else. All right, let's take a look. We'll start with Catalina Island. Get the feeling that place is going to explode with sea bass. There has been some white sea bass hits over there. It looks great. The water temperatures are increasing. There's some big bonita around there. There's been some yellowtail seen and taken at Catalina Island by private boaters. The Pursuit a few days ago had a nice hit on the white sea bass. We had that for you. So fingers crossed that that place continues to improve, and they're going to have this weather window opportunity also, where conditions will continue to recuperate. The water will warm up even more. It should clean up even more, and that looks like a good place to be. We'll watch that for you very, very closely. San Clemente Island, we're going to get the Freedom back there. We're going to get some other boats back there. That place, there's a lot of yellows. You know, Mark Paisano said that he was on a one-day trip, and they had a handful of yellowtail at Clemente, good bass fishing, but he said they saw a lot of yellows on the front side. The problem is that conditions have not completely recuperated from all this wind, so water's a little off color, a little cooler. Once that kicks into gear and the conditions improve, look out. And it could be game on here in the next 24, 48 hours if we get that bump up in water temperature, if we see that improvement in water clarity. There's enough fish there where San Clemente Island is ready to go. Tino Valentine and the Freedom will be heading over there also out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. So you might want to think about it, or for at least you definitely want to keep your eyes on it. We'll be doing that for you, keeping you up to date. At Clemente, You want to have a dropper loop rig with 50-pound. That is a good way to go. A nice big hook. I like a 4.0 size hook, and probably a 4 to 6 ounce torpedo sinker. There's also some excellent rock fishing should you miss on the exotics. There's been hits on sea bass and halibut at San Clemente Island if you're able to find and exploit a squid nest, and there still are some over there. So Clemente's a very, very interesting place right now. Just needs to recuperate, and there's been a lot of wind out there. We're going to get a break in it now through the weekend. This is a good time to roll the dice and get out there. I'll be watching it. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a report in the morning that says San Clemente Island is on, and then we start to develop our plan on the Amigo for our 2-day trip even further. That island goes off. We're looking at yellows, we're looking at sea bass, we're looking at halibut, we're looking at bluefin tuna, we're looking at a dream trip. That's at least how it's playing out in my mind. Got to stay away from our nemesis this year, and that is the wind. All right, let me take you to areas like Santa Barbara and San Nicolas Island, Santa Barbara Island, San Nicolas Island, and of course, what went on in the Channel Islands yesterday. They deserve it. They've been suffering through this wind, and they've been suffering through it knowing full well that if they get a weather break, it's going to bite. I've been saying that to you, you know, and in fact told you they're getting a weather break, it's going to go off up there, and it did. Big time catches of sea bass, several boats limiting out the Aloha Spirit, the Endeavor, several other guys limits of white sea bass. Good halibut fishing on the Endeavor's 2-day trip. Not only did they have limits of sea bass, but they had 12 halibut to go along with it. Ventura sport fishing all over it. 805 676 3474. Excellent fishing indeed for the Endeavor, and many of the boats up there should be on that fish again today. They have that weather break. Look for incredible fishing again today in the Channel Islands. I have no doubt that that's going to again be the scenario we are looking at. And remember, they fish those sea bass up there in an entirely different way. Sometimes they're running and gunning. They're moving from sonar mark to sonar mark. Sometimes you visually will see those fish on the surface, which is really thrilling when you see 30, 40 big sea bass milling around the surface. The boat you're on pulls up next to it, and you go in the water and hang 6, 7, 8, 10 fish. That is some pretty fun stuff. I think we got a biter back there. We'll see what's going on. Keep our eyes on that. You keep your eyes on it and let me know. So Channel Islands right now on fire. So tackle-wise, fluorocarbon, a must. You want to have 30, 40-pound fluorocarbon for sure. And you're going to fish dropper loops sometimes with, depends on wind and current, you know, 4 to 6 to 8 ounce torpedo. Sometimes you're going to fish a Carolina rig with a split, with a sliding egg sinker. And also there's been some fish taken, especially halibut, on those white fluke tails. Those have been super effective up there for quite some time now. So once again, get a variety of tackle. You do want to have some heavy stuff just in case, and then you want to have that fluorocarbon. That has been super effective. The majority of the fish have been taken using fluoro, and it's that resistance to the abrasion that I like so much. So definitely want to keep that in mind. Looks like we didn't catch a fish back there, but it's a nice transition for me to get into the surf with you. This gentleman back here, I just talked to him. He said all rays so far this morning. So just rays for him, but there's a lot of corvina up and down this beach. He is fishing back there with sandworms that he dug up. You can watch our sandworm video and learn how you can dig up sandworms, which are an extraordinarily good surf bait. Down around Bolsa Chica, we have seen some good yellowfin croaker fishing here the last couple of days. A few spot fin croaker. There's some halibut being taken here and in the Long Beach area. Really, really nice halibut fishing on the Lucky Craft, Chrome Crocodile, Little Castmasters. And if you have some grunion from the previous year, because it's observation only right now, that works really good. I just use a half a grunion, toss it out there, you can catch halibut. Everything likes to bite grunion. Dave Hansen, my buddy, Dave says everything eats grunion. So that is also something to keep in mind. We have seen some really excellent fishing in the surf, and those corvina, as I mentioned to you, right up there in the shallow areas, sometimes in a foot of water. is where you'll see those corvina milling around. Fishing the light line is a great way to get it done. Santa Monica Bay, El Segundo area, up there we've seen some yellowfin croaker in the surf, occasional halibut up there, and up in the Ventura area, still some bar perch, a few halibut up there also, and a few yellowfin croaker. Surf is coming to life. Don't forget, right down the street here, Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach. They've got all kinds of great surf fishing stuff for you in the store. Drop by, they've got intel, and they can really help you to get rigged up properly. Also, Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California, Sam De La Torre. He was a big participant last night in our live show. Always great to hear from Sam. Sam's playing an integral part in Friedman Adventures. He's really helping us to grow, and I've told him this before, but we really appreciate it. And that is one heck of a great store to walk into. Their inventory is vast. You're gonna see everything and anything you're gonna need for sport fishing, and their customer service, top notch. They'll take you through it, suggest what you need, not what they want to sell you. It is really a great way to go. All right, folks, big day here at Friedman Adventures. We've got a lot of great stuff for you. Brian Burrell, don't miss that. That is such a great learning device for you today about the Colt Sniper, how to fish it, and Brian talks about that. That Albuquerque update, golden with fisheries expert Bob Osborne. He pours over a lot of stats and gets you really ready to go. And also, don't forget that we'll be taking off a week from tonight on board the Amigo. You want to join us, 657-227-6459. Send me a text. Just say charter list, please, or just say charter list, and I'll shoot it out to you right away. All right, there may be some bonus footage. Who knows? When I'm walking back, maybe this guy will come up with a nice big halibut or something like that. All right, everybody. And also, I'm on my way to Gallagher Staging once again with a whole car full of donations for our friends in Mexico. We'll be headed down there for a Christmas giveaway this year that is going to be fantastic. And in fact, I'll have information in coming shows on how you can join us. You can come down, help me distribute. We're going to fish. We're going to do a great poolside barbecue, and we're going to distribute thousands and thousands of gifts to our brothers and sisters south of the border. All right, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you again a little bit later right here on Friedman Adventures. Oh, and a leopard shark. There we go.